3 days ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to an off-season episode of River City 93. Before we started the episode, I was saying that I was so happy to see y'all. Like, I'm glad to be doing this again because I've been itching to have the episode just because this is like one of my favorite things to do. And Matt so impolitely said, well, it's not like you didn't see at least two of us in the same room, which is true. I did see two of your beautiful faces, but I haven't seen the whole crew. So I missed the whole crew together to talk Kickers news, which we got finally after what 20 days of nothingness. And yeah. So yeah, we have a lot to talk about. We got roster news to talk about. We got USL Academy news to talk about as well. If you haven't, it's not too late. You can still listen to it. Listen to the episode with Mika where he talks about the USL Academy, how everything is working with the youth, who to look out for. And also, by the way, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. River City 93. Give us a 5-star review. It helps the algorithm, the thing that made us leave Twitter and put us on Blue Sky. So if you're on Blue Sky, follow us on there.
That's why.
Yeah. Well,
Just that.
Yeah. Woo. Host other things as well. But y'all, I guess we'll go around the horn. Matt, how have things been for you this off season? How relaxed have you been? Or are you in a constant state of kicker's rage?
No, the worst part about this offseason so far is, actually having to pretend to do my real job instead.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Not
the thing
cool.
you get paid to do. Like, I have to talk to you people.
Yeah, like, not acceptable. Season needs to get here so I can get back to having something else to be able to focus on.
Right. Hey, how have you been? You've been a part of the Kickers, well, not Kickers, the River City Red Army pickup games. How disastrously funny have those been?
I would say this most recent weekend was probably the funniest only because people just kept showing up and we just kept adding them to the field. So we were playing 16 on 16 at one point. So for the second hour, we did have to break it up into 2 games of 8v8 because it was just getting out of control. But it's been a lot of fun. It's really great to see those folks again as well. It's a nice way to hang out. And, as everyone says, when there's bad results on the footy, because obviously there's other footy going on, it's really important to touch grass. And it's been nice to have a weekly opportunity to do just that. It really grounds you in reality that, nothing is real. What you see on TV can't hurt you. Just get out there, have fun with your friends. And
that is an absolute lie that what you see on TV cannot hurt you because Tennessee has done nothing but hurt me. So much so that I almost left the game that I paid for because Tennessee pissed me off that badly.
I mean, you brought that on yourself. You knew it. You knew what they were this year.
There was a sliver of hope for like maybe a quarter. And then after that died. First game.
We don't need to burn half an hour on why Will Levis is not.
Oh no, we don't need to. We don't need to at all. We don't need to at all.
You knew it was coming.
Epic grass touching session for Elliot awaits.
I need to. And also last is not least is Shadir. How cold is it up there? Because I know it's cold. How cold is it?
Ooh, you guys caught me on the day. So it's getting in the negatives tonight. Tomorrow it's going to be in the negatives all day. Yes.
Absolutely.
Fahrenheit negatives. Yes. So it's going to be, so probably right now, I actually just went out real quick to grab something from the store. It's like -2 and feels like -12 right now. So yeah, no outdoor soccer for me. So I unfortunately unlike UK, have not been able to touch grass to give myself a little freedom from all of the soccer disappointment that I've dealt with. So kickers dropping out of the playoffs early, New England Revolution not even coming close to making the playoffs. Manchester United having the new manager bounce with the wrong manager, and my newly acquired team, Minnesota United, getting embarrassed by LA Galaxy in the playoffs. So just fantastic. Just a lovely few weeks. Quiet Thanksgiving of I wish I could actually touch some grass and play soccer with some adults rather than 2 and 5 year olds. So
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah,
You only got like 4 more months and then you're there.
yeah. -2. Nah, dog, you can have that.
But that's okay. So Minnesota is
Sounds like
prepared
my
for all
bank
this.
account.
They've got bubbles all over the place, like those domes over soccer fields everywhere. So you still got some soccer being played, but haven't found anything yet.
I'm from upstate New York. We are also dome country. That's where I grew up, playing in a dome every week.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I pray for y'all. I pray for your heat bill. I know that Jay has to be looking kind of stupid right now.
Well, no, it's actually not that bad because like the regulations for building code in terms of insulation have to be ridiculous. Like you cannot have a house leaking heat and it'd be legal.
Yeah, that's the kind of podcast we are. Regulations podcast,
like our
baby.
3 listeners just all turned off.
Yeah, baby. Let's read the regulations of housing. What? No, I'm joking. Totally joking. But let's transition this. Talk about something that was a little bit warmer. The Joeys, the Baby Roos, whatever you want to call them, made a trip down to Florida. My bad. To play the USL Academy Finals.
Yeah.
Lucky them.
I mean,
Jesus Christ.
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could be in that kind of weather right now. So they took down a pretty strong roster. Had a couple of pro players mixed with, is it fair to call Nick Simmons and James Stenton like semi-pro players?
Pro rostered.
Pro rostered. Okay, that's better. I like that better. Pro rostered. We'll use that from now on. Pro roster players, and then a bunch of other academy kids. So they were paired up against St. Petersburg FC. Real quick, I'm just going to run through the results. We don't need to talk about each individual game because these are kids and they're kids. So St. Petersburg, we won that 2-0. Then we played Utah Red Wolves 1-0. We lost, unfortunately, 2-0 to AC Connecticut in the semifinals. And in the 4th place game, where there was heavy rotation, we lost 1-2 to Real Colorado. So I guess why I start off with this, Matt, is I'll come to you first. One, was there any game out of these that impressed you so far? And 2, is there any player outside of the – well, I'll throw in the pro players that impressed you?
I mean, I didn't watch them that closely. Again, reference that had to work, nonsense, and them running games in the middle of the days on weekdays kind of made it a little tough to pull off, some of the time. And the little bit of highlights, I saw looked like, minus game 3 where it didn't go so great that Griff and Beckett were holding it down, in the center of defense, pretty well. But I mean, it's hard to say much else beyond that. I heard Snedden had a really good game too. Didn't get to see that. One little troubling if goalkeeper with that many pro players out there has to be the man of the match at this level. That's about the best I got for you.
I can speak about game 2. It wasn't as bad as what you thought it was. Snedden winning man of the match. Like, he wasn't under pressure. Like, I would say Utah maybe had 3 legit chances on goal, and each one he saved. Like, it wasn't he made like a spectacular save on it. But outside of that, like Richmond dominated the match, pretty much overturned Utah. Like you got to the point where Utah just was trying to foul because they were just so annoyed. Kate, I know you kept a close eye on the academy games as well. Any player for you that stood out to you? How do you think they played? What was you impressed with?
We were talking a little bit before this, and I think Chenier made a really great point because it's the sort of counterpoint to what I did like, which is that I really liked the passages of play. Like I thought I was impressed with the technical skills of a lot of the players. Honestly, on all the teams, there wasn't really. I think the first two, there was it felt like a bit of a tactical advantage, and that the kickers were just able to make the most of their opportunities, and the defense was so solid that the other teams just were not able to compete through the midfield and create any real opportunities. But it wasn't the flip side of that. Great, like quick, clean passing and sort of moving the ball from defense to midfield. But similar to the kickers, there was kind of a breakdown in connecting from the midfield to the attack, because when you look at the score lines, pretty low. And I'm pretty sure that was true in a lot, like especially at the tighter matches, like against Charlotte, Independence, things like that. Those were like 1-0 wins as well in the regular season. That it passed the eye test, but Chenier brought up a great point that there wasn't a lot of like individual game changers or major creative moments that sort of led to the defense like being unlocked in any consistent way across the games. Obviously, they scored a couple of goals, but I'd say when you compare that to the other top teams, the number of goals that they were scoring, AC Connecticut, who won 2-0 in the semifinal, had just scored 4 in the previous match in a crazy 4-3 comeback win. So a lot of other teams was making a lot more happen in front of goal. So the passages of play, they were clean, they were nice to watch, and when they had what looked kind of like a tactical advantage over their opponents, it came off. But as soon as they were up against a better quality team, it wasn't producing much. I don't know if you want to say more, Chenier, on that.
It seems to be one thing that when I was in the Richmond area and I was coaching, it seemed to be a big focus, being able to connect and being able to keep possession, connect passes, and move the ball quickly, and focusing mostly on that passing and receiving. And as much as it's what makes the game move quickly, it's what makes the game click. What makes the game exciting and what makes a game unpredictable is those random moments where the passing sequence stops and somebody just does something solo and amazing. Doesn't necessarily have to be out of this world, but when someone decides, all right, instead of passing the ball, I'm going to take this defender on and maybe the guy behind him as well. And I think there was a slight lack of there was a big lack of that. It's like they're scared to make a mistake. They just stay within the box of the sequences they want to apply in the game. And I mean, when you live with that fear, when things go south, when you have a team that figures out your passing sequences, that figures out your movement, then you end up in a situation where you have no response to that. And I think that's what we ran into.
Okay. So with that, you did have a couple of man of the match, and I will say it's kind of impressive that you would normally think it would be the guys with the pro experience or with having played in a pro game, but the only one was James Sten. That was game 2. We talked about that obviously, but you had I'm trying not to butcher these names. Brendan Dusbosky, Grafton Call, Andrew Richmond, and Max Hager. Also, they got man of the matches at various games throughout the point of the tournament. So now I'll come to you. I want to ask you this question because obviously you had experience with the youth game. In a tournament like this, where you played in a pro environment or you've been involved in a pro environment, is there any benefit to playing in an academy tournament still?
I think. See, this is the thing for me. I think my answer is going to be a very unpopular one. I don't think it is. And one thing that has become a major part of youth soccer, period, is the tournament weekends. And people think, oh, that's the best. They get to play a whole lot of soccer. And it's like, by the time you reach to the last game of the weekend, all you're seeing is bad habits and bad mistakes by players because they're knackered. They've been playing all weekend and they've been playing for like 3 days straight. And you expect them to hold their form. Imagine yourself lifting weights and putting, if you're lifting for strength, you're going to do high reps. I mean, high sets, low reps. So you're doing heavy weights. You're probably going to do maybe 7 or 8. Imagine after you get to that 8, you say, all right, I'm going to do 20 with the heavy weights on. By the time you reach the number 15, your form is gone. You're just trying to push the weight up in whatever way possible. That's when you end up hurting yourself. That's when you end up forming bad habits. And I think those tournaments, these types of rapid fire, every day there's a game situations create those bad habits, create that level of fatigue, which then in turn creates bad habits. So for the guys that have played for the first team, putting themselves in this situation, okay, it's off season technically for them, but that still doesn't really help them much in terms of their development.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, just provide the counter side of that argument, gives them a chance to go see if they can be, alpha dogs, for a team. And I mean, we'll talk about, why that could be useful, coming up, shortly. But, we've seen a lot of these guys be supporting players at most, this last year. And for their age, that's great. But, when they're put back into that other environment, can they, step up? Can they be able to show that they are, a class apart? And I think also that idea is, I mean, yes, I'll agree with the 4 games in 4 days seemed absolutely absurd. I was surprised by that schedule, but
even a
can these guys
70-minute
go out
match.
there and win?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, end of the day, when you get up to this level, it's not about development at that part. That's what the regular season's for. If you want to go for that, if you're at a playoff tournament, you're there to win. It's not just a matter of, oh well, let's get the experience. Getting the experience is loser talk at that stage. You're out there, win, see if you can step up. And not sure all of our guys did.
I think the defense was pretty impressive because I thought that it was quieter because it didn't look like they had much to do in the first 2, which is probably that was one of the things actually I was most surprised about. I think we could probably say more almost about the commentary on these matches because
oh my gosh,
there was some heavy breakfast food. I'm talking major waffling going on from some of these guys. They clearly had 3 to 4 talking points and 70 minutes to fill. And
I think the first game they spent the entire time talking about Nick Simmons.
Salivating, the word salivating was used
and they were
at least 3 to 4 times.
Oh yeah, kickers are very excited about. I mean, which we are, but it was just he's not a pro yet, man. This kid's about to go to UVA.
Yeah.
How is this any different than every League One game where they have the same 2 talking points, but there's only one guy saying them? At least this time there's somebody to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
they made a lot. They went on a tangent in one game because one of the kickers players took a shot, a free kick opportunity, and they talked for 15 minutes about how it was probably caught up in the most recent rocket launch wind and was orbiting the moon. It got crazy. But the wildest part of all that is I can't remember a single one of them talking about the fact that the kicker's back line was held down by 2 professional players and a keeper who had just played the entire tail end of a professional season, including winning save of the match against the team that eventually won the league. Never once mentioned the 3 of them as a key reason why the kickers might have looked as good as they did. All the talk was on the offense minded, which maybe is just a blind spot in terms of that's what these guys are excited about. Goal scoring is, from the lame person's view, what soccer's all about. So there's it takes a little bit more subtlety to talk about defense. I don't know if that played an element. But very little was made of the fact that
No.
the Kickers back line should have had a pretty strong defensive performance, and only conceded their first goal in the semifinal. I think they were like the only team that didn't concede a goal through the first 2 rounds.
The other thing too, how many of y'all watched the second game or listened to the second game?
I watched a good portion of it.
Did you hear the guy like breathing into the mic? Like he sounded like he had sleep apnea.
It was crazy.
I was like, yo,
Okay.
like I was like, I don't know if he about to die or something. Like somebody need to go check on him. Like this
Breathe
is
through your
concerning.
nose. Is it really that hard to breathe through your nose? No offense.
You don't know what his septum situation is.
That's true. I'm sorry.
That man had a head cold. And someone who just survived the head cold, I can sympathize. That man was breathing through his mouth to survive. And then the pronunciation of the names, I thought I was bad.
They should have got a replacement.
I don't know. But the pronunciation of the names gave me
Snadon.
yes, speed on. But they got certain tacos right. Which, by the way, that is one player who I would keep an eye out for is Sarah Tacos. He's a good. I would say at a youth level, he's a good forward. Obviously, there's much more to grow in his game. I'm not gonna say like he's, head and shoulders above everyone else, but that's an interesting prospect to keep an eye out for, Sarah Tacos. But yeah, the pronunciation of some of these names were wild. Like Simmons, Snedon. It was just wild. And then like the recording of it, like I think the first game, like it looked like it was recorded like in a box. It was like something like cutting it off somewhere.
Mhm.
It was
The top 10% of the screen was completely cut off, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We love you, USL. We love you. We love USL quality broadcasting.
Look, you know what you're getting at this level. Like
I know. I did have a moment of like, I can't be critiquing that much because I am watching a bunch of random 18-year-olds play soccer in Florida right now at 12 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon. So like, I hold my hands up and say the fact that I'm watching this at all is free. For
that
free.
shows you
like,
how dedicated of sickos we are. They were like, even the fact that we're doing a podcast talking about it shows you how dedicated sickos we are. But the fact that we were all excited, most of us were like, I get to watch the Kickers play. Like, it was just wild. It was absolutely wild. But yeah, first and foremost, shout out to the Joeys that made the USL Academy All Tournament team. James Snedden, Griffin Garnett, Becca Howe, Nick Simmons makes your first team. And then Grafton Kyle makes the second team. So shout out to them as well there, man. Yeah, I think that's about it. Anything else about the Academy stuff before we move on to the stuff that we really are here to talk about, the fun stuff? The stuff that we've been patiently waiting for forever?
Let's not wait then.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
It's James Bond's
let's go.
birthday. That's the thing we've been waiting for. No. No, I'm not joking. Happy birthday, James. But yeah, it has been almost 20 days since the Kickers have put out any significant news that is relevant to us making a podcast. And now, with that being said, we have news on who is returning. We already know who's not returning. That's been kind of deviated out there. We know that Neil Vignos is not returning. Nathan Awney, Joao Gomero, Zaka Moran. Anyone else I'm forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting someone else.
Arthur Bashua.
Oh yeah, Arthur Bashua.
Bashua.
Correct. Yeah, just retired today. Wishing him the best there. So we do have news on who is returning. And before I lay out the list, I think there's one interesting part that I want to read out that was in the kicker statement. So it said the Kickers are pleased to announce their initial roster of returning players for the 2025 season as the club prepares for its 33rd consecutive season. This initial group of 12 players marks the first moves towards the 2025 season for the club, with more players from the 2024 squad in negotiations to return. 9 of these players return on multi-year contracts, while the remaining 3, Adrian Bellhart, James Vaughn, and Guy Franca, have their options extended. Options exercised. So for what we know right now is a couple of things. One, Bill Hart, James Vaughn, and Guy Franca are playing on the last year of their contracts. The other 9, because it's 12, the other 9, meaning Pablo, Chandler, Dak, Landon, Josh, Griffin, Beckett, Lanning, Celia, James, yeah. They have 2-year options, so they'll be here going into 2026. Emmy as well going into 2026, right?
I don't think you should assume that's how it's read. I read that as they're already under contract for 2025, and that the other 3 guys they're up in 24 with the option for 25.
Okay.
But yeah, there could be options on those 2025
Right.
contracts that we don't know about that could lead to
Right,
them.
and some of them could go to 26 for all we know, but
Mhm.
I would not work off the assumption that all of those are locked in for 2 full seasons.
Yeah, and I think the other interesting part in there is with more players from the 2024 squad in negotiations to return. And we know, for one, we already named off 5 that are not returning. So then who do you guys think would be returning?
So for me, that read out that we haven't officially signed, Sneddon, or Simmons because they were technically academy guys last year.
Yeah.
Those are far and away the 2 most likely, names that were on last year's roster that haven't been announced yet to return, because they weren't on pro deals, so you can't announce an extension of a contract that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The other one is we did hear that Maxey is now playing pro indoor, right? Like over the winter, he's playing in Harrisonburg. And
word.
as far as I know, you cannot be under contract in 2 different teams. So unless they have to, unless his indoor he was not under contract at the end of this, was able to sign a pro contract for his indoor team, and there would have to be some sort of negotiation to allow him to be loaned from the Kickers to this indoor team or something, because otherwise he would be under 2 pro contracts at the same time. So I imagine that could play a role in whether or not he is announced, whether or not he's coming back, because he's currently under contract for this other professional team.
I mean, that's some old school USL stuff right there. When like a lot of guys would play indoor, during the winter, and then they come back to their various teams. Much shorter season back in the day, to be fair, but yeah, it looks like the Harrisburg Heat, they had their first game on Sunday. They lost to Baltimore Blast.
But good to know somebody, if he does come back, he's staying sharp in the off season. He's not no days off.
Last game of the regular season is
that man is 34 years old. He can't sit down. The moment that man sit down, his back and knees are going to start hurting. He just got to play. He just got to keep going.
He has to keep playing. He has to keep playing.
Yeah.
He doesn't want another job. He said, I don't want to coach any kids. Sorry.
Yeah. It was like, hey, Maxie, go hang out with your family. No. Soccer.
I get it.
Yeah. And then I would say one of the big omissions is obviously Simon Fitch, who we did not hear positive things from him at the in-person, the end of season.
No, we heard positive things. We just didn't like those things.
We're very happy for him and his fiance wife. They got married already. His
close.
betrothed.
I think we're close to the wedding date. If that has, I know Ani. I mean, obviously not coming back, but he just got married as well. So shout out, happy for him.
But Simon Fitch's fiance, Susanna Friedrichs, plays for DC Power. So their season, they play a fall half and they take a winter break, like in the Bundesliga sort of situation, and then they will play a spring half of the season. So she is under contract through the spring in DC. So it appears that is playing a role in his next move. He did tell us he would never play against the Kickers in this league. We don't know how much control he has over that statement. It does not sound like he will be playing for the Kickers in the league this upcoming season.
Yeah. So we don't know about that. Toto Pineda is another one out there as well who we don't know much about.
Do you want to go back through and who is coming back? Because I felt like you kind of rushed. Flew by that one.
My fault. I did. So let's probably go through let's put a pin on that about who this might be returning. Let's talk about who is here, who will be representing kickers in 2025 with new jerseys. Humble. I cannot wait. So we got Pablo Hara. He is returning. Kate's magical pick. Chandler Dwyer is another. Dak, Dakota Barnathan, the Mayor of Richmond. Landon. You got Josh Kirkland as well. Griffin Garnett, Guy Franca, Beckett Howe, James Vaughn, Aiden Billhart, Cleety. See, this is why I don't.
Clyde Shella.
Clyde Chella. Thank you. And I can't do that in Jersey.
Yeah.
I had to learn his name.
We don't need to have an off season.
I had to learn it because he scored a goal.
Yeah.
30 minutes after I tweeted, that's when I'd learn his name, is if he scored a goal.
And the man that probably will be buried in City Stadium, and if we don't get the proper chance to send him off when he does retire, I think City Stadium might burn. Emiliano Terzaghi, the king himself, is returning as well. This is year 6 for him, right? No, year 6. Yeah. Year 6. All right.
Yeah, it's year 6.
Yeah, year 6 for Emiliano Terzaghi. Anyone on this list that surprises you as returning? Matt, you want to start?
Sure, why not? I think we knew a good number of this. Like, we knew the young guys were all going to, be back. I think it wasn't hard to put the pieces together. That Kirkland, would be signed on, too, especially since he's a local guy. I think the biggest surprise, in any way, shape, or form was Vaughn, just because older guy, seemed to fall out of the rotation a bit by the end of the year. So one of those types where I'm upset that he's back, but it's also not going to be like, oh yes, James Vaughn, that's the guy.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but it's like the expression of how you said it. It's just the dullness of it. It's hilarious. But I get what you mean.
Yeah, it's like he's fine. I mean, as of right now, he's your starting midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
That needs to change, for the record.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. Anybody surprise you on the list?
For me is Cloudy, honestly. I mean, I had a strong belief that he would be coming back, but until you see it, I thought it would be a thing where we'll get it down the line. Like, I didn't think it would be the first initial round of signings. But to see him back here, man, look, our whole defensive performance changed when he got signed back to the Kickers and whatnot. I think if I'm not mistaken, his first 2 starts were clean sheets or close to it.
Yeah, that sounds right, because it coincided with Sneddon.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was a huge part of that. I think another one as well is Josh Kirkland. Matt, this is something that I've always kept in my head, and I remember you telling me about how, like, Richmond always will go out and sign someone that has, like, quote-unquote potential, but is like, how much of that potential really materializes or get better. And like Josh Kirkland is a player who I see has potential. Like, he's someone who we signed late on at the end of the year that was a practice rotational player, right? And I mean, we saw glimpses of what makes him good. Is there definitely room for him to grow in terms of goal scoring, maybe adding a little bit more muscle so he can hold the ball a little bit better, build up play, things like that? Yeah, of course. But I think this is a good forward to have around. Now, if he's our starting second forward going into the season, I think ring the alarm bells. Just because, like, I want someone a little bit more established to play behind Emmy. But yeah, I'm excited to see him there. So those are my 2. Kate, Shanair, what about y'all? Anyone that surprises y'all?
I think for me, one of the names that I think because maybe he was kind of more in and out of the squad towards the end, people would overlook as someone who could have been snatched up by someone else. But Adrian Billhart, I thought we would have ended up losing him. If you think about the way he started the season, the way he was playing, I mean, he's one of those players that is practically a full package. And I think he's one of those players you can plug into almost any other team in the league, and he would do well. So pleasantly surprised that we were able to hang on to Adrian Billhart for next year.
Yeah, especially since at the season ticket holder event, we asked if he was staying. He was incredibly cagey. So did not reassure us that he would be continuing his employment with the Kickers. So that was a very pleasant surprise to be told that by camp at the Red Army event on Sunday, because Adrian himself did not reassure us that. So maybe there were some tense contract negotiations that went on to make that happen. But that was a very pleasant surprise, I would agree.
Hey, get your money. Get your money. I got no problem with that, Adrian. He deserves it too.
I think the big Billhart question is, it's the same, thing as the Emmy question from last year. It's like rough injury into the year. How's he bounce back?
Yeah, multiple injury spells as well last season. So
we need to get other guys on the field that can absorb some of the kicks that he takes, because his defenders loved to kick him last year.
Yeah, that's true. And I will say this too. I think, and maybe I'm reading too much in it right now. It's early doors, but I do like this first round of signings because I was able, like, for every veteran player, maybe outside of Pablo, like, there's a young player in that same position or same area of the field that they can learn from. So, like, for instance, on the wing, like, you got Aiden Billhart, then you got Landon Johnson. Forward, you got Josh Kirkland, but then you have Emiliano Terzaghi. Center back, you saw with Akinchella, but you also did have Griffin Garnett, Becca Howe, and Guy Franca. I consider them young. I guess if you want to make jokes based on age, like, you got James Vaughn and then Chandler O'Dwyer.
I thought you were going to make a Dak joke there.
Oh, but yeah, it could as well. Yeah, like, they can learn off each other there as well. But
it is also nice because of how many problems we had 2 years ago with center backs that we do have 4 center backs that I trust to play.
Speak on it, Kate.
A level of rotation that is a good start. We didn't lose that with the problems we've had in that position before. The fact that there's a core, there's rotation available there.
Now we just need to find
where are you slotting Barnathan, though?
Oh, Dak is in the 6. Dak is in the midfield. He's the new Zaka.
Okay. But he can play center back in a way that I would not say, oh, great, we can play Chandler O'Dwyer at center back.
You can.
No, we will.
But Dak, and I love you, your ass is in midfield. Dak need to understand that. Same thing with Chandler. Like, the first day of preseason practice, like, you know how you kind of split the groups up and try to get everyone to know each other. And Chandler, walks his way over to the midfielders. I didn't need Darren to put his hand in the chest and be like, no. You see Emmy? You're with him. Go that way. You are a forward now, son. You no more midfield for you. Like, that's the kind of thing I need that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he's proved it. At the end of the day, I don't think he should be in the midfield. The guy was our top scorer last year. Where else should we be putting him?
Yeah. Like, I don't need to see Chandler line up as center back.
Oh my god! Or another wing set. Chandler O'Dwyer on the wing. Free me from this torture.
There will be plenty of time for us to talk about this later on. Let's talk about happy things, the good reasons.
Jokes themselves were right themselves.
Well, there was one piece of happy news that was shared at the Red Army event on Sunday, which is that there is a major signing coming. Not sure if we'll hear the name until January, but someone who apparently has so much sway that they, for what appears to be the first time ever, have secured him a 1-bedroom apartment because he refuses to have roommates. He is an international player, and we asked if he would know his name. I guess. Well, our first question: would he know his name? Like, is this a big name signing coming from another club that we would know in USL 1? Seemed to be a negative. International player, but Camp did say that if you quote no ball end quote, you will like this signing. Don't know if that means that it would be a name we'd recognize, or if once we look at the stats, we would think this is a good signing. So it kind of was ambiguous whether or not this was a name recognition no ball or know your numbers no ball.
It's gonna be another
really
El Tonke, isn't it?
Jesus Christ. I swear to God. I swear to God. If I see that man pop up in one of the Richmond Kickers graphics.
Oh goodness.
I wanted to. I gotta see what the hairline's looking like these days.
Oh, it had to get worse. Because remember, he went this way, so it had to go down. Like we're talking below.
Homeboy had a commitment.
Describe where your hand is for the audio listeners, Elliot.
Oh, that's bad.
Like normally you think of a comb over as a horizontal move. Think about it as a vertical move.
Going forward.
That's
you know that man had to put some kind of grease or gel in it to hold it in place.
Super
good. Yo, I never forget that game me and Shanae was watching. I think he had the ball and his hair like went up. So it went like straight up in the air. And he didn't realize it for like 2-3 minutes until Emmy came over and like smoothed it over for him. And I was dead weak. Like oh boy. All right.
So more to come.
Yeah, more to come.
Start submitting your ideas about who it is. I did ask if it was Gabby Overton and was told no. So we seem to be clear of one washed international quote unquote big signing.
You know, we can't be I don't think this club can afford to repair any more of these or pay for any more of these in the offseason.
No more knee surgeries. Yeah, we're like 2-3 knee surgeries away from Kickers going bankrupt.
Yeah, you know, can't be afford to have that. Mm-mm. So, I think some other things too that was kind of interesting. Well, not interesting. We will have some new teams in the league coming in. We got what's the team out of California? They just signed
AV Alta.
Yeah, AV Alta. Texcoma, which I still don't believe is a real place. FC Naples and Westchester up in New York. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those are the 4, right?
Portland.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Portland started this year.
City O podcast.
Yeah, they're everywhere. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Them kids from Portland. Them kids from Portland are bad. Like I like them. That bad.
But I also am putting it out there. A couple of us have already started thinking, what a great away day, Portland away. And we asked Camp, and he said he thinks it might be in August. So away trip to Portland, August long weekend. Sounds good to me.
Y'all try to take River City 93 in a row? Because I'm down going to Portland, Maine.
How nice would that be if it actually ends up being August?
What? That'd be awesome.
I mean, we haven't done original Madison yet. Why are we worrying about new Madison? So for real, that's what they are.
Hey, old Madison doesn't have Patrick Dempsey, okay?
That's true. Who you think your Omaha fans are going to start a derby with? Because you know it's going to happen. They're going to start talking shit to somebody.
Texoma.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right.
There you go. There you go. There it is.
I mean, they're literally on the same pathway. Everybody loves the logo. Everybody loves the artwork of it. It's got a vibe. Oh, look at the cool jerseys. Oh, look at us sending them around to all the soccer influencers so they can talk about how awesome we are.
on our 7 different podcasts that we have for a team that just signed a head coach for the first time a week ago.
I swear they got like 8.
No shade. Sorry, no shade in the podcast verse. No shade.
Lots of shade.
Just feel like maybe you should have something to talk about before 8 different people launch a podcast. I think that they were just waiting for an opportunity to launch a podcast.
It's the same thing when you're in Omaha with like 5 podcasts and 18 different supporter groups. Like I think in the final they had like 9 supporter groups and it was like 3 people in a group. Like what are we doing here?
Everybody wants to be a leader.
To be honest with you,
this is annoying.
A whole bunch of Chiefs and no Indians. That doesn't end well. Like that ends up with chaos. Because I mean, when you look at supporters groups, how many we got? We got like 2.
1.
Respect Scuffletown.
Yeah, exactly. We got
Scuffletown don't show up until they're like, oh, there's soccer game. Yeah, I guess we'll go.
They say the meaner things that even we aren't allowed to say.
No, they do. That's why.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, when you have that many supporters groups, I mean, where's the direction? What's going on?
I did also find it interesting. The Portland supporters group is charging for participation. $25.
Them in Naples are charging.
Are they?
Yeah, I think I saw Naples.
And I will say, part of what you get is access to a Discord. So,
hey, if you want to join a Discord for free, that has actual people in it that actual like the team and live in the city.
That actually has a team that we can support. They've scored goals and made playoffs and have players.
You can join the Red Army Discord, which is cool. And a banana.
I don't know how to get to it, but if you go on Discord and you know how Discord works, you could probably find it because I don't know how to find it.
You know how this app works.
I don't know how it works.
I don't.
I clicked a link and it took me to it.
Oh, we'll put the link in. I'll put the link in the chat.
That's always my excuse too. Oh, I clicked a link. I didn't mean to go there.
I think that was like the funny thing because we did the trivia at Kickers Night. I mean, at the Red Army Night in Christmas. Which, by the way, we got a bunch of toys and tots. And they were trying to get Rob Ucrop to do the trivia thing. Which, by the way, Matt and Rob won, which I declare they are not the winners because one.
Whoa.
What? Matt, you are literally the historian of the club.
Oh, I'm not disputing that one. I beat Rob. That's not a tie.
Well, that's fair. That is true. He did beat Rob, which is hilarious. Well, I think Matt couldn't win, and Rob couldn't win because he obviously owned the club.
I refused the award.
Mm-hmm.
What was?
But let it be known I won.
Great, Matt won kicker trivia.
I
think Matt had like 18 and a half, right, or something like that.
Oh, something like that. More than everybody else did.
I think the next closest person was like 12.
There was a drop off considerably after. Shout out Lee for creating the trivia. He spent a lot of time on it, created it from scratch, craft trivia, homebrewed in Richmond, Virginia.
But I say all that to say, like, we try to get Rob to do it. And Rob's very first question was, y'all trying to steal my information? Like, Rob, we don't got time to be stealing your information. Like, Rob, ain't no one trying to steal your information.
Okay, open it on incognito mode if it's really that big of a deal.
Like, but the funny thing is, I don't know if y'all saw Rob answer the question. Like, you could tell, like, Rob is old because he had the glasses, like, right here. And he's scrolling with his middle finger like this. I'm just clicking, just punching the phone.
Okay.
It was funny. Yeah, it was definitely funny.
Oh, goodness.
All right. But yeah, we probably won't hear any more from the team probably till the new year. So Kickers fans, relax. We got news out now. We're not playing a full professional U20 team like some of the fearmongers are trying to put out there. We got some players here. We'll get more, but those news is going to be slow as they negotiate contracts, bring in guys. I did hear a rumor. I don't know how true it is though. That preseason is going to be a little bit earlier this year. I think they're trying to line it up with the championship.
Mm-hmm. That would make sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that works out.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not that where the pros got to come out, because they haven't dropped any news about that yet, have they? So yeah, we might get news about that first before we hear about rosters and everything. So
the Ivy are holding their combine though. They've announced their dates, so I'd imagine it.
That is coming up soon, right? Like in December.
Yeah.
What if we just randomly show up?
Right.
Who knows? But yeah, so I mean, you get the Ivy, so I'm assuming the kickers will probably be after that, and then probably around the second, third week, you'll start hearing news about who's signing, who's doing what. So don't get FOMO. It's okay if you see other clubs signing players and whatnot. No one has a full roster yet. Okay, but if you do want to talk crap to somebody, we're the only ones that has at least a team and a backup. We can at least play a competitive game at this point, which means we won the league. Yay! So,
I wish it was that simple. I really do.
Honestly, it would be. Matt, any last things from you, my good man?
No.
All right, Matt's done. Matt's ready to sign off for the rest of the year. I'm wonderful that. Kate, any last things for you, homie?
No, but I'm really excited about the other big news that we'll be dropping about the revamped cup format that we've been hearing more and more that will not look the same as it did this season, and we won't have to play Greenville and Tormenta 8 times per season.
Yay! Fun.
Yes.
Okay. Shanir, any last things for you before you die of frozen? This frozen tongue.
Frostbite.
No, not really. I'm just really hope that they don't mess this one up and just end up with the dregs at the end and scramble to sign somebody who can fit a position, whether they're good enough or not. I just hope that doesn't happen.
Oh, it's coming.
I know.
A college kid that has one good knee that wants to keep playing? Come on down.
Nick Sarantakos, you have been promoted.
Oh man, we're laughing about that now, but when that thing hit, I'm gonna be like, yeah. We're laughing about that now. Oh, yeah, Kickers fans. As always, remember you can keep us on the good side. Follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook at RiverCity93.com. You can support all our work at RiverCity93.com as well. And make sure you give us a review. Like, share, subscribe, share with a friend. All that good stuff. But with that being said, as always, for Matt, Kate, Shanir, and myself, we will holler at you guys probably in the new year because we're probably not going to record again. I don't think Matt would allow us to. So, yeah, we'll holler at you guys in the new year. Happy holidays and be easy and be safe.